Hi, and welcome to Stone Barns Center for Food and Agriculture. I'm Jack Algier, here to share a little bit about winter squash from the field. What I want to share with you today is some of the interesting things that we've learned by exploring the great potential of diversity that's out there, both in the old world and what's available to us as an heirloom, and also all of the new varieties that continue to unfold and become available as we ask for flavor diversity, storage diversity, and all kinds of different characteristics that we can get from any number of vegetables. Now that we're here in fall, this is the quintessential fall vegetable. Winter squash, pumpkins, obviously are kind of the icon of the season. We like to take old varieties and cross them with more recent things to make really special traits that come out of them. This example of a variety that's called honey nut, which many people are getting to know now. This variety is now commercially available and really started to come out of the seed closets back in 2007 here at Stone Barns. And this is a collaboration that we work closely with Cornell University, Michael Mazurek, and the Plant Science Department to help get this out of obscurity and get it onto the real market. And we believe it's a pretty extraordinary squash in that it has very high beta carotene, very high sugar, and it's just absolutely delicious. The reason it was lost for so long was because it didn't have this kind of characteristic tan color, and so the marketplace rejected something that was absolutely delicious for its sort of unique color character. I would say that I think it's both beautiful and extremely delicious. So we can use this individual as a parent to make crosses with other things. Let's say these two, which might seem like unlikely parents, but the combination might turn out, and this is not the exact, but a similar relative to Shishigatani, one we call Kogiku, which is another pickling squash, was crossed to honey nut to make this beautiful variety here called Koji nut. Now, this one has turned out to be an extraordinary cross hybrid between this relatively new variety of honey nut and a very old variety called Kogiku. So Koji nut exhibits all of the delicious flavor profiles and textures and sort of the best of both worlds here. And it's very productive in the field. We have 3 different species that we're working with here on the farm to select for different flavor profiles, different storability, and different times to harvest. We have the butternut type, we call them machadas, that are ranging from hundreds of years old to brand new. We have varieties of kabochas, maxima type, that also range from a century to this past season, and their range and qualities across that line. And then brand new crosses of pepos that are varieties like acorn squash and delicata squash and pumpkins and zucchinis. Each one with their own capacity to meet different culinary needs. Today we'll open up this butterscotch butternut and open up to just look at the different quality in the inside. Now, generally speaking, the best way to start any one of these in terms of cooking at home is to roast them, to open them up, remove the seed cavity, and roast them for a while at a higher temperature, above 350, somewhere 400 degrees is a good mark. This way you can bring the sugars to the surface of the fruit, and depending on the size and the delicateness of each variety, it adjusts its timing. You can see here with the butternuts, because there's an open seed cavity in the back, I like to cut into the back of it first. It's a little bit easier to cut and make safe cut with these things. Now, these types have a very hard top, so sometimes it does help to cut the little top off to cut it through. You can see that beautiful bright orange texture on the inside. a relatively small seed cavity and a big section of bright, smooth, and fine textured flesh on the butternuts. Now, generally speaking, we might want to put these in a pan to roast. If you lay them down on the ground, upside, you open up the cavity, lay them face down on some parchment. The aroma, the smell that's coming off of this is very sweet and bright. What you want to do is try to preserve that so the top doesn't get too burned in the oven. So often face down and let them bake like this on parchment, maybe a little bit of oil, and then turn them over halfway through or so, 3/4 of the way through, add some oil to the top and get a nice finish on the surface. People are very familiar with cooking traditional winter squash. The only thing I would suggest, you probably have a family recipe for squash at Thanksgiving or winter squash through the course of the season. You can, of course, dice and chop and use winter squash any way you want. But some of these more fine varieties with higher sugars do appreciate a little higher, shorter time, higher temperature, shorter time in the oven to really get them to liberate all that sugar, and it will come back in flavor for you. So thank you so much for joining us. If you like what you've seen here, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel or check us out on the web at stonebarnscenter.org. Thanks for joining me today.